Welcome to the Blue Ocean of Compliance Tips program. If you are working in pharmaceutical industry, irrespective of any department you are working, irrespective of any responsibility or any level you are working, the knowledge of audit and compliance is must. And next thing is that only having the knowledge is not sufficient. You should be able to implement the strategies and CGMP practices and your knowledge on your site. Okay, because if you are having a lot of knowledge but it is not reflected on your site, then it is difficult to qualify in regulatory inspection. So in Blue Ocean of Compliance Tips program, every week we discuss the CGMP practices which are mandatory to be followed to qualify the regulatory inspection effortlessly. So in previous sessions we have discussed the 5 R's of API manufacturing companies, which are very important for API manufacturing companies. By the way, if you are in formulation, then also it is very important. That might be possible that if you are having the knowledge of these concepts, then these are going to help you in the investigation to find out the root cause of any failure out of specification. So do not miss watching this episode till the end. I am Dr. Rupali Paranjape, best-selling author of book Blue Ocean of Compliance, and I am also the auditor, trainer and consultant for pharmaceutical industry. I associate with the companies to take the level of compliance to high so that the companies can reduce or avoid the huge losses due to non-compliance, and they can qualify the regulatory inspections effortlessly. Yeah. So as I have discussed that previously we have discussed the 5 hours. So out of those 5 hours in previous sessions we have discussed what is return, what is rejection, what is reprocessing of the material. So today's session I am going to discuss with you regarding the what is reworking of the material. Yeah, reworking of the material. Last session we have discussed the reprocessing, but reworking is different from reprocessing because in reprocessing we are performing the activities, we are treating the material or we are repeating the manufacturing steps which are already part of the approved procedure. But reworking is different from reprocessing. So today we are going to discuss that what is the reworking, why the reworking is performed. By the way, if the material is reworked material, so whether it is acceptable to test or analyze the material with already analytical methods which are used for the release of the which are used to test the releasing of the material or which are already submitted to the regulatory authorities. We are also going to discuss that what should be done at the time of submission so that we will not have to file the PAS prior approval supplement to release the reworked material. We are also going to discuss that whether the batches which are reworked batches, so validation is required for the reworked batches or not required, and what to be done so that the validation will not be required. We are also going to discuss that why the reworked material is to be analyzed with different analytical methods and what to be avoided to reduce the impurities in the reworked material. And there are many things we are going to discuss, but in the starting I am sharing with you these number of points. So what is reworked material? So whenever we are working in any industry, so there may be possibilities that many times the material is not complying with the specification, right? So like this in API manufacturing companies also, if any material is not complying with the already approved specification, so what is to be done with that material, whether the material is directly rejected or it is to be discarded. So there are some possibilities that this material is treated with some process, it is treated with some manufacturing procedures which might not be part of the already approved procedure. But we have to treat this material through those processes so that we will be able to obtain the material of required quality, right? So if we will repeat some manufacturing processes, or we will do some treatment with that material, we will treat that material in such a way that the quality of the material, it may be intermediate, it may be API, it will be as per the required specification. So this is called the reworking of the material. Why reworking? Because whatever processes we are going to do on the intermediate or API, those processes are not the part of already approved processes. Means it is possible that those steps may not be part of the batch manufacturing record, right? So these processes or treatment may be different from what is already approved processes. So this is one thing, that in reworking of the material, so many reactions are to be repeated, right? So due to the repetition of the procedures, might be possible that the material which is reintroduced into the reactions, it is not the same material which was obtained from the previous processes, right? So the material is different. So this material is different, so we cannot treat this material as the normal material which we are getting in the normal manufacturing processes, right? So when we are doing some different treatment on intermediate or API, so there is possibility that some unknown impurities might be formed in that material. That is the reason the analytical method which was validated previously to analyze the batches cannot be used for the reworked batches. So the analytical method should be such that it will be able to identify any change in the material. It will be able to identify that whether the impurities which are formed in the reworked batches can be identified, quantified in that material. Okay, so that is the reason that what are analytical methods which are used for releasing the batches, means which is already submitted to the regulatory authorities, cannot be used to analyze the batches which are reworked. Okay, so another thing is that the material, as the material is different and we are repetition the some reactions, so in that process might be possible the level of impurity is changed, or might be possible that new impurities are formed, might be possible some degradation impurities are formed. So this is the reason the why the reworked batches cannot be released without the approval of the regulatory authorities to which we have already submitted the dossier or DMF, right? So that is the reason that whenever the reworking is performed, so reworked batches to be revalidated. Now if you want to avoid the concurrent validation, right, in that case concurrent validation is to be performed, and in case you want to avoid this validation, so what you can do, and you can do that at the time of submission. If you know that reworking is required or might be possible reworking will have to be done on the batches, so what you can do that you can at the time of submission itself you can declare and submit the regulatory authorities the detail of the reworking procedure with the proper justification and also data that this reworking of the material will not have the impact on the safety, quality and efficacy of the product. And based on the sufficient data, you can prove that reworking of the batches will be of the required quality which is required by the regulatory authority. So in that case, when you perform this reworking, so in that case you can directly perform the reworking without prior approval or pass prior approval supplement. So In this way, because you have already submitted the details to the regulatory authority, the prior approval submission is not required and you can rework the batch. Okay, now this was regarding the prior approval supplement and validating the batch. Another thing is that the specification which is used to release the material, means release specification, same specification cannot be used for the reworked batches. Why? Because reworked batches are different, right? It is not same as the material which was previously obtained from for the regular batches. Okay, so if the material is itself is different, so how the specification of that material will be same? It cannot be same. Okay, so one thing is to be kept in the mind that for reworked batches the specification will be also different. So specification will be different and you will have to analyze with different analytical method, okay, which will be able to identify any change, or it will be able to determine the exact potency of that drug or product or intermediate or API. Okay, so in this case reworked batches are to be treated differently than normal batches. Okay, and it is also different from reprocessed batches. Reprocessed batches we have already discussed in the previous session, so if you want you can revisit that episode or rewatch that episode and you can conclude as per your understanding that how these two batches are different, reprocessed and reworked. Okay, so in this way the reworking of the material is different. Reworking can be done, but for assessment of the reworking batches are to be done in depth. Okay, only analyzing and declaring that to release the batch, it is not the case for the reworking of the material. These should be treated differently. Okay, so this was today's episode in which we have discussed that what are the reworked batches, why the same specification and same analytical method is not acceptable for the reworked batches, and if you want to avoid the pass, what should be done so that you will not have to take the prior approval from the regulatory authority to release the batch. Okay, so to reworked batches to be released after the approval of the regulatory authorities. Okay, so this was today's topic. If you liked this video, if you have learned even a small thing, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel and also share the link with your friends so that they will also be able to learn from these sessions. And do not forget to read my book Blue Ocean of Compliance. After reading that book, your thinking process will totally change. You will start looking the things happening on your side totally differently, and might be possible you will be able to find the elements which are responsible for the non-compliance on your side, and you will easily remove those non-compliances from your side, and you will able to change the thought process of the people who are creating continuous non-compliance on your side. In this way this book may be magical for you, but yes, you have to reread that book, because first time reading might be possible you will not get what it is really able to deliver you. In second and third time when you will read this book, then you will come to know that how you can change the way you handle the non-compliance on your side, and how you can change the people also on your side. Okay, so do not forget to read my book Blue Ocean of Compliance. By the way, it is I have written to help all the pharmaceutical industry people and pharma companies. Okay, with this message, Dr. Rupali Paranjape signing out until we meet again in our next Blue Ocean of Compliance Tips program. Thank you.